Good evening. It's a tarot evening, I think. It's time to press the button and start a little tarot stream. I like a Sunday evening tarot something. And today I got something new, a new deck, which I am interested in because I noticed it in a book I was reading. And then I decided, my eye keeps getting drawn to the card images in this great book. So why don't I figure out what deck it is? And it was really obvious because it was a book by a person named Liz Dean. And the book is called Understanding Tarot. Discover the tarot and find out what your cards really mean. And the deck primarily used in it is called The Magic of Tarot. And that's the deck. So I got that deck because I thought it was good. And if I'm not mistaken, an important thing to make sure that I illustrated by Emma Gardner, I believe. That's the booklet that comes with it. So the illustrations are what, obviously, I started liking the book. Now I'm pretty sure that that's what that means, that she did the deck images, because those are the only images in this book. Therefore, that must be the case. And I got the deck because it's basically the Tarot de Marseille deck, but, a new interpretation of it. But it's very simple and direct and sort of, it's like got that illustrated quality combined with a little bit of a painterly quality, abstract number cards. I like the simplicity and the sort of, I don't usually go for tarot decks that have an incredible amount of precision in their artwork. I sort of seem to like decks that have slightly cruder lines, a little bit more, just a little sketchy quality. I don't know why. I think it's probably a psychological thing that plays in with my not wanting to absolutely nail down an image. And I like it to have a little imprecision and a little flexibility. So it suggests, it hints at other possible angles for interpretation, that kind of thing. So the art has to be just a little messy for me to think it works on a tarot card. If it's too airbrushed and photoshopped and too much perspective. In fact, the other night I was having a conversation in virtual reality in AltSpace VR, Microsoft's VR socializing place. And I go in there because I have a tarot world set up where you can go in, and if I go in there, then I give people readings on this huge screen that's in virtual reality and shows the cards. And this really young guy going into college came in, and we were talking, and I gave him a reading. He thought it was really cool, and we started talking about the images themselves and like the Wheel of Fortune, and he pointed out that the wheel and the art of the wheel on the card doesn't make any sense from it doesn't the perspective is wrong, and he understood that that was actually better than trying to do a perfectly accurate rendering of the wheel and in perfect perspective from the camera angle and everything, and that it was being treated symbolically on a card, and so having the perspective be distorted actually made the image seem more symbolic, and it works better on a tarot card. And I thought that was a very sharp observation from a very young person. And I told him I thought that was really perceptive. You know. So what I'm going to do is I have the deck set up over here. Let me show you with my tarot camera. Affectionately known as Tarot Cam. And so I'm sort of getting the deck, ready for the first use. I haven't taken the plastic band off. There's a transparent piece of plastic around the deck still. But there it is with its box, and I put 4 apples there. 4. Like, the 4 of Cups card a little bit. But I sort of have this thing, the tarot table is a place where you put things that have special meaning and that work in a certain way. And, it has to have a flavor. It has to taste like an apple. So it has, it has to be a little bit of an offering. You have to make an offering to a deck of tarot cards. You have to make an offering because that deck, you may have paid for it, but it's been given to you. It came out of the clear blue sky. It just dropped. I noticed it, got it. This artist and this writer, they have made something and worked incredibly hard. Think about the work that goes into making a tarot deck. There's 78 paintings or drawings you've got to do, and you got to set things up and be precise here and then there, and you've got to keep track of what you're doing. How much of the symbolism of the old deck do you want to reproduce? How accurate, how closely tied do you want it to be? Do you want this deck to absolutely mirror the Tarot de Marseille? No, you want it to have elements of it, but you also want to have your own interpretation. So it's this, you really have to sort of respect and admire that just on that artistic level. And that's why you sort of make an offering to it. It doesn't have to be anything to do with magic or powers or anything other than an artistic sort of camaraderie between these artists that have made this thing that I have here on camera and me and you who are watching. And so what I'm going to do is get ready by, taking the plastic off the deck. Okay, so let's take the box away from here. And there's in here we go. There's isn't that great? Look at that. Very nice. See those images? Look at that. The magician. This table. Yeah, it's really great. I wasn't wrong. Ah! The High Priestess. Look at this. Okay. Chariot. Look how nice and simple these images are. I really like this. Oh, that's great. Look at that. The mood really gets it. Huh? Strength. Wow, this is great. Hanged man hanging from the tree bough. Look at that. The moon card. Boy, she really captures it. This is a really, really marvelous deck. And then the number card. Look at this. Ooh. Yeah. Huh. That's wonderful. Okay. So, the process. The shuffling. Ooh, man, they're brand new. All right. Man, that's hard to bend them. Gotta get some flex in them. That's okay. That just means it's new. Well, look at that. They're pretty big too. When I bought them, I actually thought they were going to be small. Just because the way they print in the book, they seem like they're going to be, like this big for some reason. It's just because they're printed in small images, and but they're quite, my other Tarot de Marseille cards are a whole different shape. Like, see that? They're smaller and they're vertical. What am I doing? Oh. This is sort of an unboxing. It's like those unboxing videos you see on YouTube all the time. It's unboxing a tarot deck. We're going to do a reading, and it's going to be called The Heart and Head Spread. Emotions and thinking, sort of a general kind of a little picture I'm going to draw for the present moment. Thoughts and feelings, sort of kind of personality, sort of quick sketch art using tarot. Let's see, a few more of these, because this is a new deck and I don't want things clumped together. Gotta be all moved around. All right. Okay. Let's do a little reading. This is me. This is my spiritual self up here. This is my thinking. Feeling. The heart of the matter. The core of the apple. The core of the apple. There it is. Okay. Look at that. Look at this perfect synchronicity. Tree, apple. Voila. All right. Let's look at my spiritual self. This is sort of just general. Ooh. All right. Well, and this is a momentary reading, and we've got a number card, sort of more momentary, temporary conditions, but the 9 is a persevering, a pressing on through to finalize a process, bring a process to its conclusion, to its height. And the cups are the heart, the feeling, the love, the emotion. So I feel that this is clearly a, my cup runneth over moment, but there's change afoot, and there's serious energy and concentration being applied to this process, which in fact it does mirror my recent behavior with doing this kind of work. Now the 9 of Cups also it implies that persevering, that you have to bring it through to completion, which is often a hard step to follow through on. Many artists have trouble taking that last stride into the room, into finishing the painting, finishing the novel. It's very hard to get past constantly re-editing. That's what this card is about. But it's the realm of feeling, your love for something, your doing what you love, and bringing this, enjoying the fruits of your labor, and getting ready to move to the next step. That's what this card is about spiritually, getting in touch with that feeling of knowing more about, anyway, seeing more of one's inner life, those messages that come from sort of the unknown place. And that's what this card is. And now we go to the feeling, to the thinking. What am I thinking? What is my thought card? The intellect card. This is the 7 of Pentacles, the earth sign. And the 7 is it's moving out and taking actions, but also moving inward and taking actions. The putting into use and effect the spiritual lessons one has learned, the intuition, becoming more adept and in touch with one's inner life, and putting that to work in the world for the benefit of everyone, for the benefit of yourself. That's what that 7 is. And this is in the more material sense. This is the physical sense with the pentacles, the coins. So we're going from a completing, a moving through and sticking to the in the spiritual realm, to the endeavor and the feeling and the love for that, the emotion behind it. Put your heart into it, and at the same time remembering to do the physical work, the work that brings reward, the work that sustains, the actual endeavor, the buying of the deck, the taking care of the apple, the food, the material of the world, and what one needs. That is the what this card is. And the 7 again is putting things that one has learned to work. You're back in motion, but the motion has a lot to do with oneself and one's inner spiritual development. So bringing the spiritual, bringing the feeling down to earth into the physical realm to manifest things, to manifest what will be beneficial. Feeling card. Huh. The 7 of Cups. Wow. The 7 again with the feeling, and this is the feeling position in the spread, and this is the another 7, which is that inner development. We have this security of the 6, the 2 columns of 3, and then the central cup, the security of the 6, with containing the interior work and this activity going on. So clearly in the physical and in the emotional realm of the heart, things are moving and being put into effect, and it's causing change internally. I'm speaking of myself now. I'm speaking of the general sort of endeavor, doing tarot, streaming, that kind of thing. And this sort of general, this moment that's here now. Let me remove the apple and come down to the heart of the 9 of Pentacles. So we've got 2 7s and 2 9s, and the 9 again. Persevere. Keep doing it. Keep going so you can get it over the hill and close the cycle and move to your next step that's required. And this is very material. This is bringing it right down to the nuts and bolts of the whole thing. So I think what the message here is keep putting your heart into it. Keep the feeling. Do it when you have the feeling to do it, when you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, anyone will be able to tell that. And that will begin to manifest, and it'll create change, and it'll bring the process to its natural completion. So I like these cards. They work for me. They're great. I love the images on them. I like the way, they've put this little like backing cloth. It's very interesting. Okay. So let's see. Let me do some more shuffling of this deck. I'm going to start intentionally reversing, just spread it around so that reversals will come into play. So suddenly they're not going to be facing the same direction anymore. The hardest thing about tarot is shuffling. Really. Just like with any deck of cards. With some decks of cards, the hardest thing about them is losing your money. Oh, hi, Get Up Olive. Yeah, I just noticed. I just came over here and I can see. That's great, thank you. Yeah. Hi. Victoria Beer. Hi. Yeah. So I have this new deck, and I'm warming it up. The new deck is very hard to shuffle, but it's getting there. I was watching a documentary on Amazon Prime about tarot. It's called Tarology, and it's this guy in New York who reads tarot, and I sort of like the movie, and there are little things in it though that I agree with, and then there are things I don't agree with entirely. And usually when I say I don't agree, what I really mean is there are things that I would use, some ideas about the tarot that I would use here and there as when the moment was right, but at other times I would not. I would not use those methods. The method of reading cards is an interesting thing because it gets into things like, he was saying things like, actually, I should use the Tarot de Marseille deck for a reason. Because what he was saying were little things like, he was picking out certain things about the art. Okay, here we go. Here's an example. Okay, so 2 cards. And he was pointing out how, like, the line of the staff, the scythe that the skeleton is holding, angled that way, and the stick that the fool is holding. So they are both angled the same way. And I thought that perception was not particularly useful. Because, okay, the sticks are leaning forward to some extent. That could potentially be something, but the fact that they're mirroring each other from card to card. I'm not sure that's particularly meaningful. I mean, both figures are facing the same way. They suggest, since they're facing the viewer's right, that they're indicating moving forward into the future rather than to the viewer's left, moving backward. So, but little things like, another thing with like different crowns. So crowns, a crown being on the head, and two the tower. Yeah. Like, okay, wait. Where was the image? Was the High Priestess and the tower. And what he was saying in this film was... here it is. Okay. So the tower and the High Priestess. So he was saying, look, she has a crown here, crown, and then over in this one, the crown is being removed. And I was like, well, okay. A crown is being removed here, or unsettled, yes. I suppose that can be useful to some extent, but I just don't think that's the main content of these cards if they're next to each other. I suspect the main content is more along the lines of an intuitive breakthrough, a spiritual breakthrough or realization has far-reaching and unexpected consequences which create a certain amount of upheaval and disturbance. That's, the fact that the crown here is being upset that was firm over here is important insofar as it suggests one's strength and authority are being called into question, perhaps. But in general, I have a thing about being too fussy about the particulars of the images on the cards. That because these things vary. If people start picking out the expression, saying, "Oh, that person looks very depressed," another printer who put the woodblock prints together for their set of the same cards can get that expression different. Although one could then say, well, that's the luck of the draw with the artist and the woodblock, and it's just as informative in a reading as the luck of drawing any particular card. So my perspective there could be faulty. It's an interesting thing about tarot because it's an imprecise method for getting at revelation. It's, you're looking for a holy grail here with the tarot. You're looking for something that's very sort of, you can't quite grasp it. So the images to me are imprecise, and it gets tricky trying to be too precise in your speculations about the bits and pieces of the image. If you look at the curly cues here and you look at the hairstyle of the angel as opposed to the hairstyle or the hidden hair of the high priestess, or you say, oh, look at this hairstyle as opposed to this one. It gets a little dangerous, I think, with that, because so many little problems with printing decks and, in other words, none of that may be intentional. It may have nothing to do with what an artist way back in the early 1700s meant to do with this deck. So that's all. I think so. So when I watch a movie like Tarology on Amazon Prime, I have a lot of respect for what is going on there. But I think you have to remember, with any tarot person, any tarot interpreter, any tarot artist, you have to disagree where you need to disagree. Even as a listener, even if you're going to get a reading, you are doing your own creative act because you're interpreting what the tarot reader is saying. You're also interpreting the images, even though you may not realize that necessarily. You may think, I have this tarot reader who's interpreting this for me, and whatever they say, but that's not true. That you're seeing images on those cards, and you're making assumptions. And sometimes what a tarot reader might say could contradict what your assumptions are. But your assumptions are not necessarily wrong. And they may, in fact, play in and together with what your reader is saying. So I don't view... See, that's the thing. Tarot readers, for me, aren't authorities. They're artistry, and they are in conversation with you. You may not be in literal conversation, like through chat here or whatever, with a reader, but you are in conversation unconsciously. And you may go off and think about what someone said about a reading for you, and you may think about it later in the evening and wonder about something. Wonder, what did he mean by that? About that judgment card with the angel and the horn. What did he mean when he was talking about that card? I don't know. And then you might go and look at that image on the internet or something. You go, oh, I see what he meant. Or no, I disagree completely with what he said. He's an idiot. And that's the conversation that goes back and forth. But that's the thing about tarot readings. The reader gives an interpretation of something and hopes that it rings bells and creates connections in the listener's mind that they find useful at some point. The reader's effort really isn't to tell anyone what is going to happen tomorrow. Because nobody knows that. Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. You can predict based on prior experience what's going to... I mean, if a person always, they love TV and they turn on Netflix all the time, and there's a show, there's something on, they have free time tomorrow night, you can pretty well say you're going to sit down and turn on the television tomorrow night at about 8 p.m. That's just Sherlock Holmes stuff. That's not what tarot does. Tarot, makes suggestions and creates odd firings of the synapses in your brain that make you go, oh, you know what? I hadn't thought about that. I didn't think about this problem from that angle before. That's an odd point of view. I wonder if that would be useful. Would that help? And it might. So I'm going to quickly go over to the tarot table and do a 3-card reading with reversals with my new deck and see what that looks like. Okay, let me see here. Just going to do a 3 card, which is something to let go of, something to hold on to, and something to bring, to find. General sort of inspirational thing. And I'm just going to pull 3 off the top of the deck. Ha ha! Well, that's our little story. And what we have is the Ace of Wands, creative fire, passion, the hormones of the tarot right here, reversed. So let's let go of that little bit of doubt about what we love to make, what we love to do, the things we want to express, and our feelings, our passions, stuff we really love doing. Let's not worry so much about whether or not we're good at it. Kind of let that go. That's what that's saying. Now here, something to let go of here, something to hold on to. This is reversed. So the knights are active, passionate people that go out into the world, do things. And this is the realm of the intellect with the swords. It's also conflict. So there might be some conflict. Okay, but what it's saying here is there's some hesitation to put some thoughts, to think things through, and to go out and use that knowledge. There's a little bit of hesitation. There's some holding back, some doubt about it. And so it's a warning. So basically it's saying, be careful of overthinking. Be careful. So we're being told here, let go of the doubt about the creative passion and our abilities and our right to do this work. And hold on to that creativity. Hold on to that passion, and don't let your mind get in the way. Don't let negative thoughts get in the way and keep you from moving forward and taking action. And something to bring, something to get, something to attain, the sun, the big sun card, the big wonderful glowing card of splendid achievement, of reward, of taking pleasure in that reward, what you've done, what you've built, the people that you've come to know. Sit with them, enjoy them. It's like being at the beach on a blanket under an umbrella and enjoying the waves and watching kids play and having, some pizza and just enjoying life, what it has brought. So basically, don't worry. Have faith in your creative spirit. Stop letting your head get in the way. Go out there and do it and enjoy the sunshine. Wanted to bring this sun card over because it's really nice, actually, what they've done with this deck. I like how the two characters are off center. That's a good touch. The The 3 sunflowers. Yeah. This is a very wise deck. So, again, actually, hang on. Yeah, so there's the Knight of Swords. But it has a... Oh, Sammy, yeah, there's... Thank you, Zombie Man. Unity, hi. And Sammy, okay. Yes, go ahead. You can, yeah. So, Sammy, you can join the queue. Just... exclamation mark, join. There you go. Gotcha. Okay. All right. So, Sammy, you go ahead and tell me what you're thinking. And I will use this really nice new deck. Cannot sleep. Okay. That's... I know so many people that have that same thing. That is like... I know what you mean. And here I am drinking... drinking coffee. I mean, I'm actually drinking coffee. So that's step 1. Don't drink coffee at night. I am just weird. I'm telling you, I'm so weird because I can drink coffee at midnight and then fall asleep at 12:05 a.m. That's just weird. It doesn't make any sense. And everyone I know is like, dude, that's nuts. And I'm like, I know. I don't understand it. I must have like some physical imbalance because it doesn't, it just is, it's probably not good for me either. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm still shuffling this deck. So don't worry, I'm going to do your question. I have to shuffle a little bit more. I'm going to move over to the tarot table and get ready to ask these cards about sleeping. Okay. I think it's probably what I just did. I did a 3-card reading a couple minutes ago, and I think that lends itself to this. Because the idea is, let's sort of think of it this way. Let's see if these 3 cards suggest something. And the way to figure that out is to see what story they tell with a beginning, a middle, and an end. Okay. All right. Now, this card actually began reversed. So I'm going to interpret it as such because it started out reverse and I flipped it the other way. This is something that we can consider receding in importance. This is the beginning of the story. The story will lead us here and then here. And we're talking about sleep. And these are two physical cards. These are the cards of nourishment, taking care of oneself. The ace is the card of infinite possibility. It's the signal card, the flashing red light that announces something to you. And it's saying, right side up, it's saying, pay attention to your physical state. Pay attention to your body. Listen to it. Feed it properly. It was reversed when I first pulled it out of the deck, which indicates something perhaps, maybe there's an improvement that can be made. There's perhaps a weakness here in the physical realm. Now, falling asleep, it's both. It's physical and mental. It's also emotional. It hits so many things but here we're talking physical right now, the body. And the reversal, you can, looking at it both ways is what we're doing. The reversal is saying, look at that. That's why we are here. That's why the story has begun. Look at what you are doing, what you're eating, how you're treating yourself physically, because that is key. There's like a red flag here. Now, let me turn my... Now, that being said, that red flag being acknowledged brings us to the next chapter in the story, which is more of a, this is step 2. And it is also the physicality. Again, the body. But what we're seeing now is a much more harmonious picture. This is the picture of attraction. This is the picture of happiness, of sharing and being open and being certain of one's situation, being content, having achieved something, attained something, and being sort of basking in the pleasure and security of that and sharing it. It could mean family. It could mean your significant other. What it's saying here is pay attention to your physical self. Look at the details of what's going on there. And that will bring you surprising results. That will bring you security, serenity in the physical realm. Now, the next chapter after that, the one sort of coming that, you want to bring, it's a little bit in the future here. This is much more immediate. This is going to happen relatively quickly, apparently, if one considers the physical as it should be. The cups, the heart, the feeling, the love, and the page. The page
that's a character who is young and wants to learn and wants to go out and find out, what is this all about? I don't know. I've heard about that. I've heard about getting in touch with my feelings. Everybody talks about it. How do you do it? No. How do you do it? Where's the wise old person that's going to tell me how to do it? That's what the page is. The page is energetic and enthusiastic. So you've got this focus on the physical, okay? And then you've got that leading up to this enthusiastic, youthful, energetic sort of pursuit of what you really want. Where does your heart take you? Is there something, is there like a concern emotionally that maybe you're still figuring out? That's what the page is. Pages are always trying to figure something out, figure out which way to go. Should I go this way or that way? I just don't know yet. I don't have enough experience. So think about taking care of yourself and enjoying that process. Make it fun. Make it a game. I mean, after all, anything you do physically, even if someone's doing a diet, they can learn all these cool new recipes and buy all these great books and and buy new frying pans and just enjoy the heck out of the process. And keep that joy sort of on this enthusiastic level, and don't worry too much. Don't worry. Drop the worry. Pages don't worry. They're too young and enthusiastic and naive to worry. So keep a little naivete in your heart about this whole issue. Don't let it be so big a deal. Okay? Don't worry. So go cook some nice spaghetti or make some nice broccoli and have a nice little glass of something, your favorite drink, and make a little ceremony of it and enjoy the hell out of taking care of yourself and just be like a kid, be like this young person that just wants to learn more, and let that inform your thinking on this issue that I know a lot of people tend to get very sort of down about it. And just see what happens if you try to keep that guy in mind. Yeah, Sammy, these things are that's the whole thing about tarot, is the little pieces of a reading that resonate. Those are what are the key. Those are very valuable because they just it's just like reading a good book or talking to a really good friend of yours who is able to say a few things and you go, oh my gosh, I never even thought of that. So there you have it. Lou, you're up. Go ahead, and I'm going to use this new deck. Okay, Lou, go ahead and ask what you have on your mind, and I'll about how to stop getting so stuck in your own head. Okay, yeah. I love that. Yes, let me go over there again. Okay. This is something I do quite frequently. Get stuck in my own head. Let me tell you. There's so many ways that the head figures out how to come in and take over everything. In every realm of life, in everything, in relationships, doing anything, doing tarot, and your head starts going, oh, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, no, you don't know enough about that to be talking about that. I know what that is. A lot of people do. So let me give the cards a little bit of a... This is going to be one of those readings that's like, you know, the 3 cards, and they're supposed to sort of give you a little elbow jab to the ribs. Okay, let's see here. This time I'm going to use the pull the 3 off the top of the deck technique. Okay. Ooh, okay. All right. We got 3 upside downs, and right in the middle, we have the big, tricky moon. Okay. Over here, this right away, page 1, is telling us, don't worry about taking what you love to do and doing it. Don't worry about bursting into action. If you're creative, and you can be creative in your work, in your art, your cooking, your love, your reading, anything you're doing, building a wall in your garage, fixing your car, you've got all this creative juice going on. And stop worrying so much about using it. So in other words, if you're going to pick up the pen and write a note to somebody, just put the pen on the paper and write, "Hi. Just wanted to say ... and then just let the pen keep moving." That's what this card is saying. And the reason it's upside down is because there's some hesitation to do that. And that's its warning. That's what it's saying. There's hesitation, so turn it right side up. Just do the thing. Whatever your creative energy is telling you to do. And this is creative energy. It can be relationships. It's whatever. The force in you is that you know that you kind of lean toward, you know, whatever you're working at. Okay? Now, this middle card, the moon, this is the big, dream-like, the interior life, the unknown coming up. It's like ideas you get when you wake up and realize you've had a really incredible dream, and it has had all this stuff in it, and you're trying to figure out what that thing meant, and you're telling your friend about it, and you're like, I don't even know what that means. Could it mean this? Could it mean that? That's what this card is about. And it's upside down, and what that means is, don't be afraid of the confusion. Don't be afraid of not getting what's going on underneath, inside your head, the unconscious, the dream thoughts, the thoughts you don't know what to do with. Don't be so afraid of them. Just let them come up out of the water like the crayfish here. Let them just sort of have their time. They pass. They come, like the Buddhists say with meditation. They come, they go, they flow like the water. You know what I mean? Just let because when it's upside down, these things can be upsetting. They can concern you, and start getting all these mixed feelings about what your head is telling you, or what these thoughts, you don't know where they come from. This is the card of thoughts you don't know where they come from. They don't really add up. They don't make rational sense. That's why there's dogs howling at the moon at night. They're going a little crazy out there. You know, it's hard to tell what's happening. You know, what are the dogs howling at? What can they hear that we can't? You know, and you don't know where all those things are coming from, and so they concern you. But this card is saying, no. Just let it. This is holding you up. So let those thoughts have their moment, and just let them drift, and just move to something else. Okay? Now, what that brings is the coins, the physical, and that's what we're talking about after all, you know, ultimately existing on the planet. And let's turn this right side up. It's an 8. So what it's saying is 8 is the number of sort of infinite energy, but successful. It's successfully applied with great skill and precision. And this card wants you to pay attention to the physical. Don't worry about your creative energy. Just move forward and do it. Don't worry so much about thoughts you don't quite understand where they come from and that upset you. And a way possibly to do that is to think about things in more down-to-earth terms. Down to earth, the physical earth symbol of the coins, the pentacles. Bring things a little bit out of your head. Let your desire, your will, take you forward. Don't hinder yourself by worrying about your thoughts. You can have them, just don't worry about having them. And bring yourself down in connection to the physical things you do to get the thing done. So if you're an artist and you want to draw, put the charcoal on the canvas. Put the bricks in the wall. You know, just start mixing things up. If you're a cook or chef or whatever, just go to the store and buy some new olive oil. You know, think about the physical things that you do and let your mind lose itself in those for a while, so that those thoughts that have been bothering you start to subside, you know. And actually that little idea that I just talked about with doing the physical, that's something I actually do. Yeah, make some spaghetti. Yes, I actually do this. I will actually say, okay, what can I do physically? Like if I can't, I'm doing something with tarot, let's say, and I get all muddled up and I can't think of what I'm supposed to be doing with the tarot, okay? I will simply do something very mundane and down to earth, like clean a piece of crystal with a rag. And then, you know, say, oh, you know what? I should just clean the table. I should clean the cloth that I do readings on. I'll just do little things like that. I don't have to worry about anything else. And then that will just calm me down and I'll forget everything else. I'll just do the task. And then the next thing follows and the next thing follows after that. All right. Get up, Olive. Go ahead, get up, Olive. You're getting on the train. You're welcome, Lou. General. Okay. All right, get up, Olive. General reading because, you know, that makes sense because we're, you know, the weekend coming to a close, at least over here it is where I am. I don't know where other people are. They could be ahead. But so a general reading, yes. Just sort of be a little thing to think about as a new week begins. I love doing that. Sometimes I just do that thing where you just pull one card out of the deck in the morning, and you just sort of think about that, when you're starting to do things, like one card, like, okay, that's my little thought for the morning. All right, let's see. I'm going to pull 3 right off the top. All right, here we are, 9. Let's keep it going. Let's finish this up. Let's make that last thing that we need to do in order to get to Tuesday or Monday, wherever you happen to be. Let's just, whatever's sort of straggling in that thing that we sort of feel compelled to do, that we want, that we desire. Let's just do the last little pieces we might have forgotten about. What are those? Check up on those. Keep it going. We've come somewhere. We're kind of ready for something. Let's get there. That's in the realm of things we want. What do we really want this week? What are we after? Let's get it. Let's do it. Let's finish up this last little thing. Let's get our head ready to go to the next step. And let's think. Let's apply some thought here. And it's the 7, which, let's pause and think about ourselves for a few minutes. Let's think about what we've learned, what's sort of occurred to us recently. What little perceptions have we made about ourselves and about how we can do things and make things better? Let's keep that in mind as we're working on what we love to do. Let's keep that in mind. Let's think about things that haven't been so obvious. What have we missed? Keep those in mind, because that's self-improvement. That also improves everyone around us when we're aware of those things. Now, let's not be afraid of how we're going to feel this week. Let's not be afraid of what moving forward and pressing on with what we really want and thinking about what we've accomplished and what we need to do. Let's not be afraid of where that takes us, how that makes us feel. It can be upsetting. This card is upside down. It's the 10. It's the completion. It's the arrival. It's the full sort of flowering of a feeling, of something in our heart. And we've kind of maybe want to think about not worrying so much about letting that happen, letting that feeling fully express itself. So those are just a little thing, and they're no big deal because these are all number cards. There's no huge big deal going on here. This is, just a few days. Just, let's just press through, finish some stuff up. Think about where it takes us, how it's improved us, what we need to work on, and let's not be afraid about feeling, a little uncomfortable about it maybe. Because we'll finish it up and we'll realize that, finishing it up and being sort of aware of things in ourselves actually makes us feel great, and our cup is full. So, get up, Olive. There you have a little thought for like moving into a day
at the start of a new week. And large cat reform. I don't know if I'm even reading that properly. Large three cat reform 3D. Largest cat reform. Yes, ask. Absolutely. Yes, go ahead. I'm read listening. And I'm drinking more ill-advised coffee. What message? God. Oh. What message? What message? Okay. Well, I can tell you what message the cards have. And so I'm going to do that. I'm just like I've been doing. I'm going to read the message, and that message is going to be a message that I perceive in the cards, and I'm going to hope that you see in that something that might, ring true. Okay, let me switch over. All right. A message. I'm sort of thinking about that concept of a message from a spirit guide or a god. It's a really interesting way of phrasing it. Oh, wow. Okay. Let's read this as a message. First thing we notice is the writing is most intense and bold here. This is the big, major card. Take some time. Be alone if you have to. Think things through. Search for the real answers, the truth. There's something that you need to find out. There's something you need to know. Ponder it. Take quiet time. It doesn't require being sociable. It requires being with yourself. Use your own head. What do you really see? Trust your own perception, your own thoughts. Trust yourself, in other words. This is the great hermit card, the card of
going off to find out, to seek the truth, to find out more about yourself. That's what that is doing. It's a form of journey. You can look, he's looking to the left, you can look at that, or to our left, you can look at that as looking, examining what's led him here, examining the past, examining life, his road, his path to this point, seeking some, reflecting, and seeking some truth. So engage in that, engage that part of you that seeks for the truth, the profound, the self-awareness. The King of Pentacles is more of a personality thing. Rest assured. Take confidence. Use what you know. In the physical world, in the world of work, taking care of yourself, taking care of other people, you have strength, you have authority, you are a trusted figure. Keep that in mind. However deep your explorations here go, those will only help you as you take care of your world around you, your home. The King of Pentacles is a confident master of things, is able to do his work, to help people with his work, to keep control of it, to make sure things go the right way. Keep that in mind. It's a nice, bright, firm, secure, strong person. This can be happening. This learning, this pondering can be happening at the same time that this confident, outgoing, constructive person is working. And we have a reversal here, which is the Six of Swords. The Six being the harmonious, sharing, the sort of love song of the intellect, the attraction to ideas. And it's reversed. So it's saying, don't worry, don't shy away from new ideas that you don't understand. You're learning here. You're seeking. You're going into the unknown with your lantern and your walking stick. You're going into the unknown. Things are going to be a little hard to figure. But remember, you're that guy. You're solid. You have your solid, you built that chair. So don't worry. Let the new thoughts have their time. Have that confidence, which will bring this six around, and you will experience a harmonious way of thinking about things. Your skill and thought and your endeavors will achieve perfection. Okay, so you're putting the work in, you're searching, you're learning more, while at the same time performing brilliantly, so that you don't have this fear of, perhaps lacking enough information. In other words, keep learning. Don't worry about your doubts. Have confidence in yourself. Unity. Go ahead, Unity. Largest cat reformed, you're welcome.
Oh, you're welcome, Unity. We'll just come back another evening, and we'll do your reading then when you can stay. So what was I going to? Oh yeah, I was noticing. There are some differences. It's funny when I buy a new deck, I usually read some of the. I read the little book, but this new deck also was a result of buying a book written by the deck's creator. An actual book, like a hardback, about tarot. And I found myself wondering about a few of the interpretations. But it's funny how I work with interpretations because, interpreting especially the number cards, like the 8. The 8 is a very interesting number. And there are sometimes different ideas about 8 that creep in. And I remember seeing in the book the 8 of Cups meant that somebody wanted change and wanted to leave something, a relationship. And I was like, how does that square up with my notion of the 8 sort of numerological interpretation, meaning this kind of perfect balance and energy, And then I thought, well, okay, so I guess one could see that interpretation of wanting to leave a relationship for something else. I could see that because you have achieved a certain balance in the 8, and you have this energy, and it's being applied with great skill, let's say. And that could in fact mean that you were trying to fix something that wasn't right and were going to go. Yeah, that energy could be applied to doing that. So that's how I tend to approach other people's ideas about things. I try really hard to find a way that interpretation that I don't instinctively agree with could in fact be correct in some way, or be correct at times, depending on a reading. And I suspect that that's where a lot of ability with tarot reading comes in, that it has to do with being able to utilize multiple meanings or shades of meaning at different times depending on the circumstances of the particular reading. What other cards are present, what the question is, that kind of thing. And that is the profound subtlety of the tarot. And that's why you can't learn tarot from any one guidebook. Because if you do, then you will potentially try to remember just that particular set of meanings without having the extra color and the depth of contradiction. Contradiction's a difficult concept but it's something that artists tend to understand quite well. The art of contradiction and what that does to meanings in the tarot. How contradictory meanings can actually inform and illuminate. So looking at that tarot table with the Hermit card for the reading I just did, I really like the Hermit card. I always have. I think most tarot readers would agree that the Hermit card resonates, because that's what you're doing when you're a tarot reader for most of your time. You're doing the Hermit card. You're sort of pondering alone and putting meanings together and juggling them and mixing them in your head and looking at art and looking at different cards and pulling books off the shelf, and you're sort of educating yourself, and you have to do it in this quiet way, away from, you have to be off your stream. You can't be live streaming that part necessarily. I mean, that's not necessarily true for everyone. Even I learn things here while I'm actually talking. It's amazing. But there's a certain kind of work that lends itself to that Hermit card, and every tarot reader, I think, would know what I'm talking about. I think that's probably a good place to finish up the stream tonight. This is a relatively short one tonight. I wasn't going to stream earlier. But I had this new card here, a new deck of cards, and I wanted to open it up and give it a try because I really think it's great. I love the colors, I think I'm going to use this one for a while. So, but I will also do some readings with the classic Rider-Waite deck that most people are familiar with. I'll do some of those too. So, okay, I'm going to close up the reading for tonight. I'll probably do another one tomorrow. But it's been great. I loved the new deck and the readings with it. And I would say good night, everyone, and enjoy the cards.